You are listening to Hit Play, Not Pause, a feisty menopause podcast for active, performance-minded women. I am your host, Celine Yeager. Each week, I bring you advice from athletes, scientists, researchers, and other experts to help you feel and perform your best, no matter what your hormones are doing. This show is a production of Live Feisty Media. Hello, strong, feisty women. I hope you all are well. I have been out here enjoying summer on the East Coast, where it is hazy hot and humid during the day and brimming with bats and fireflies at night, and I just love summer. Last weekend, I got to go to West Virginia for the gravel ride up Spruce Knob, which is a pretty burly 90-mile gravel event that goes up to the highest point in the state. It was super great fun, and I got to meet more community members in the wild, which I always really love. And in a couple of weeks, I will be bike packing on what we affectionately call the Pants Route, which is short for Pennsylvania north to south. So we will be riding from the New York border to the Maryland border, and I would like everyone to send good weather vibes, and I hope you are all out there getting some active fun as well. All right, speaking of active fun, this week I have a very active and very fun guest for you, Jen Temperley, who has been part of our community since we launched this thing. Jen is the co-founder of Fly Health and Wellness and is a strength, nutrition, and endurance coach with over 25 years of experience working with active women and athletes. A lifelong athlete and competitive triathlete herself, Jen is currently ranked in the top 2% of her age group and is a 10-time Ironman 70.3 World Championship qualifier. And the thing that I just love about Jen's story is that she exemplifies everything we talk about here. You do not have to slow down in midlife, and that through education and adjusting your training, you can surprise yourself literally at any age. She's also learned some really important lessons over the past 10 years, like no one person has all the answers. And importantly, nobody knows your body better than you do. Jen has hit some real challenges in her 40s, unexplained fatigue, weight gain, gut issues, injuries, and symptoms that looked like menopause but weren't. And through it all, she leaned into curiosity and self-advocacy and relentless drive to really understand her body and what was going on. And as a result, she raced the Ironman World Championship race in Kona faster at 50 years of age than she did when she was 40. And more importantly, she continues to thrive in the sport she loves. This week, she shares what she has learned along the way and talks about the hard resets that she has made on fueling and rest and stress and what it really takes to rebuild your health and power in midlife. And hint, it's not all just hormones. So I hope you enjoy this one as much as I did. Oh, and just a note, we recorded this right at the start of the triathlon season, and Jen is off to a banging start. She placed first in her age group at the Wildflower Triathlon, half Ironman, and also the Olympic distance triathlon at that event, and overall in that event this past May. So way to go, Jen. It is awesome to see you still getting after it and having such great results. Okay, before we get to it, give us a follow at Feisty Menopause on Instagram and Facebook. Come on in and join our ever-growing private Hit Play Pause Facebook group. Head into those show notes and sign up for my free weekly Feisty 40+ newsletter. And check out all the stuff we have going on, including a slew of new educational courses at feistymenopause.com. Thank you, as always, for your kind ratings and reviews. They make my heart sing. Also, before we get to it, very quick thanks for MIDI for their continued support of this show. I continue to hear from so many of you who are finally getting the care you need and deserve through their online services that are covered by insurance. So thank you, MIDI, for supporting our show. All right, enough of me. Let's have a few words about our awesome sponsors and get on with the show. All right, Jen, welcome to the show. I feel like we've done this show, but we've never actually done the show. I just have seen you on this screen a million times in our membership and everywhere else.
I know. Thanks for having me. It is very true. And I think our paths are so parallel along the way. And I often am like, I want to be neighbors with Celine. But I
Yeah,
do
it would be great.
remember, yeah, I remember back in 2020 when you guys started this podcast and right, the hit of COVID. And I remember being on my trainer and just every week it was listening over and over. So
Wow.
yeah, thanks for having
And
me.
you were, yeah, and you're welcome. And you were with us in Kona too. You were on the
That's
stage in
right.
Kona with us,
Yeah.
which was great
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. It's good
So,
to meet people in real life.
yeah, let's talk a bit about your history because looking at your Instagram and just what I know of you coming into just meeting you 4 years ago, it seems like you have always swam, baked, and run. What is your history with the sport of triathlon?
So I would say it started when I was 6 years old. I was always a competitive swimmer. So always, the early mornings, staring at a blue line, the double days, and I dabbled in gymnastics for a bit, and then I got to, age 12 where you had to decide because it was just they were both a lot and very intense, and probably a lot of driving around as well for the parents. Um, so yeah, so swimming led me to I actually did an Iron Kids back when I was probably like 14,
Wow,
which sounds like I'm like, oh, I'm so intense. I've been doing these forever, which I kind of have, but that was back in like the cotton t-shirt days and grab the huffy and you just go out and do a fun, swim bike run. So I did that. And then I was a D1 swimmer in college. And so during the off season, coach would be encouraging us to do some cross training. And so I don't know if you remember the Bud Light series
I do.
back in the 90s. So I raced a few of those and all this time, like just I would say dabbled in it, liked it, enjoyed it. It was kind of summer fun and definitely wasn't a year-round thing, but it was something that I really started enjoying. And then I graduated from college and was like, what do you do? Where you don't keep swimming, and most people are burnt out because it is a lot of swimming. And so that's when I kind of thought, okay, I want to start doing this a little bit more often and compete more often and start thinking about a better bike.
And then at what time does it, because you're being humble, I would say, modest. You've had a lot of success in your triathlon career. You've like winning things, all American titles. When does it really take off for you?
Oh boy. So this is crazy. My first Ironman was in 2002 and I was just wanted to do one, right? Like just wanted to like check that box. Let's do an Ironman. And then, kids were in my future. I was working full time. So I would say I did the first Ironman in 2002. I had kids, I was working. And then I would say like 2011 was when I do remember that year. I think I did like 10 races or something crazy, like just a lot. There was a lot more offered. There was sprint, Olympic. I didn't do 10 Ironmans. I was doing more of the shorter distances. So I would say that was really the year when I was, into world championships and then trying to compete in Kona.
And how old were you at that point?
Great question. Kona was 2013 and I was 40.
Okay.
Yeah. So starting upper 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
I'd say the 40s were when I was pretty competitive and would compete in world championships quite a lot for the half distance.
And then let's come into, because you, now that you're in your 40s and you're doing all this, we have to enter perimenopause at some point. And we have to enter what sounds like maybe you thought was perimenopause, but wasn't. Talk us through, you hit a little snag somewhere in your journey here. And I think a lot of people are going to relate to this. So just talk us through what happened along this path.
Okay, so when I look back at it, I think 2016, because 2016 was when I felt like everything started to shift. Now, when I start talking about it, I'm like, oh wow. And now that I'm educated on it, I know it started well before that. Right. It
Mhm.
was a slow decline, but I was training for Worlds, which was in Australia at the time. I was totally depleted. Like I was fatigued, I was bloated, I was gaining weight, lethargic. Like I just mainly running. Like I feel like running is kind of the biggest one to hit where you can't hit your paces anymore. Biking, I was just getting through. Swimming was swimming. But everything, I just remember everything feeling really hard. And I remember I was coaching, right? So I was like, I'm knowledgeable. I know how to eat. I know how to train. And it didn't feel right, but I thought I was doing everything right because I was, educated on the training. I believe, the messaging back then is, as we've talked about over and over, it was still that calories in, calories out kind of mentality, and it was like go, 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 and train. You know, you don't feel good, train harder. So
With high volume days too, right? You're just doing a lot of
yeah,
volume on
a
as little
lot.
food as you could get away with.
Totally. Yeah, I didn't know near as much. I knew how to eat healthy, but I was probably in retrospect, like super clean, right? I had like some gut issues. So I was like, okay, I got to go gluten free, dairy free, soy free, like all the things, and super just scared about what I was probably putting in my body. So that led to where I just really started getting so bad in the fatigue that I ignored all the signs. But when you have your eye on the prize, when you have like, oh, I'm going to do this race, and that's the goal. The goal is September. So I think you just think about the training leading up to then instead of what's actually happening in the body. Like I just kind of ignored it because I didn't want to deal with it, which is totally opposite of what I do now.
So you're struggling with this. What do you do? Do you talk to any, do you see a doctor?
I did. So ironically, 2016, big year for you, the Roar book,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Right?
right.
Was
It
that
did
two?
come out in it came out
Yeah.
exactly in 2016. Yeah.
So I remember specifically being in Australia with the book and reading it and having like the biggest light bulb moment of my life go off. And I just remember going, oh my gosh, there is so much more to this than what I'm doing. And I need to get back and get out of the slump and get more information. And I was motivated. I was like, I've got to get a lab work done and see my doctor and, all the things. So that was a turning point for sure of let's go figure this out and not keep grinding.
So where did that take you?
Mm. So, okay, so I went to my primary doctor
Yep.
and I've, healthy background, healthy individual. I went once a year to get that comprehensive blood panel, which is, I always call it not very comprehensive because it's not a lot of blood markers, right? And I the results came back and I was pretty borderline on a lot of things, but nothing like crazy. So his perspective was you are fine. You just need to cut back. And my friends and I laugh at it, but he's like, you only need to go 15 minutes a day. Like that's all you need is 15 minutes a day. Why are you doing these marathons and why are you running so much? And so when your levels are even close to red, like that's a sign. And especially when, I didn't know this then, but those the panels and the baselines are different for men versus women versus
Mm.
active women versus I was in perimenopause. So these numbers weren't aligning and the whole 15 minutes a day thing wasn't aligning with me. So I kindly said thank you and never went back to a doctor. So that brought me to a functional doctor because I was still like just chasing these answers. I had the book, so I knew there was some lifestyle factors that I had to change. I backed off of exercise and really tried to calm like stress is stress is stress. So I was like, I'm not a stressed out person. Like I'm pretty mellow, I'm relaxed, but it was like physical stress, mental stress. My dad had passed away. So there were all these other things taking place that I started looking at instead of just blaming my training or overtraining or, things like that. So Anyway, fast forward to this functional doctor, and I thought, wow, they're going to be able to connect the dots. They're going to have all the answers that I'm searching for. This is what people go to. This is great. They know athletes, and they took more blood work, which was great. And then that came back like almost totally opposite of the first doctor. So it was, oh my gosh, you have no estrogen, you're no testosterone, my hormones were just very off. My iron was off. I was anemic. My B12 was off. Like just all these things were impacting. So it was like, okay, we have a little bit closer to the answers that I was looking for. And then they gave me I didn't know much about hormones at this time. So I was coaching and I knew a lot about nutrition, but I was kind of just starting this perimenopausal,
Did you
hormonal.
know perimenopause? Were you thinking I'm in perimenopause at that point? Did somebody say that? Were you thinking it?
They actually said I was in postmenopause. They're like, yeah, you're out. You have no, your hormones yeah. I could see your eyes opening.
My eyes just got big. I'm
I was
just like,
like, I
wow,
don't
okay.
know if that's right. Like what? And they only did that one test, right?
Were you
So,
cycling?
so,
Did you have a period?
I was on birth control. So no.
Oh, well, they can't tell you you're not. Anyway, you
Yeah.
know that they can't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. I know. So then I was like creams and it was bioidentical compound hormones given to me. So um it was a lot. It was a lot of money. It was almost a lot of added stress to it. And I just remember not feeling any better.
Mm.
So here I was like thinking, oh gosh, like I know testosterone's illegal in sport. So I'm like, I'm not racing anyway. I'm just trying to, quote unquote, fix my body. But it didn't make me feel better. It just like tanked. I mean, it was worse than I was feeling before. So I think
Were
there was
you
like
just on
maybe
testosterone
no, I was on progesterone and
and estrogen?
estrogen. Yeah.
Okay, all of them.
But yeah, all of them. And my, the numbers weren't right, which is why that it wasn't working. Um, and even with me backing off, like, exercise and starting to do yoga and trying to figure out this whole meditation thing. I got to meditate and like most type A athletes, right?
Very
It was
stressful.
difficult. It was super, super difficult. So I don't know what actually led me to this other doctor. I think I had another friend going through it. Adrenal fatigue was a thing in the endurance athlete world. I was familiar with low energy availability. I knew a lot about that from my studies and from the book. And so I'm thinking, yeah, I'm just gonna talk to somebody else about this. This is like crazy. It all feels very fast, but it was probably 6 months into it. I was probably with this next doctor like 4 months or so, four to
Yeah.
5 months. And so then she did lab work. She saw all the results and she's like, I will like never forget the call because we get on the phone and she's like, so you need to get off everything you're taking. And again, this was like 10 years ago. So I remember that. I'm sure there was like a slow decline, like doing it the right way. But my body, due to the hormonal birth control suppressing the brain signals to produce FSH and LH, my body wasn't producing its own estrogen. So my progesterone was high. That caused the fatigue. It caused the bloating. It caused the testosterone to be low. My prolactin was high. Estrogen was messing with iron. So there was just all these super complicated. She was amazing. Like she just was like everything she said was just exactly what was happening and nailed it. So it was the low red blood cell, so the anemic, low iron, B12, low zinc. So all those things that I didn't think would have such a huge effect on my body were pretty awful, pretty awful. I had really debilitating headaches and horrible insomnia, which is kind of weird now because I sleep amazing. But I learned a lot about how hormones can affect you and how fast they can affect you, and then all the other pieces of that lab test that she helped put the puzzles together and um, just helped me. Like I basically had to detox from excessive hormones and
Gotcha.
replenish my body with
So,
nutrition, good nutrition, and all the things.
so when, just so I'm clear, when had you gone off birth control, or were you using birth control and as a hormone therapy? Like what was your
I went
along
off
with
it then,
that? But before
like
that, you were still on it.
before I was on it. Yeah.
You weren't taking estrogen too. You were using that
I was
as,
on birth control, the
yep,
pill. Got
yep.
off that. That was bad. And then I got an IUD after the functional medicine doctor.
Okay. So you were never taking like actual hormone therapy as we know it. It was just the birth control.
No, the creams and the bioidentical compounding hormones was given to me.
Did you go off birth control before you started those?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Just getting all of that straight because there's a lot going on. I'm
But
like,
quickly, yeah, I know. It was a lot, and it's
yeah.
hard for me to even like kind of put the pieces together. I remember how I felt, and I remember how long it took, and then I remember getting to the solution.
And then did you go cold turkey off of all of it, or not cold turkey, but did you wean off of all of it and then start over again?
That's a great question. I was on the IUD for probably I did get off it. Like she just kind of wanted everything to be
Yeah.
like get off and find
Blank
yourself
slate.
again. And
Yeah.
then I was on the IUD probably for about 5 years after that.
Gotcha. Did you take any other hormone? Like what was the process of sort of bringing you back to a new place of health, I hope?
Rest, less stress. I mean, who would have thought, right? I was on supplements, I had iron, like it's
Yeah.
iron is tricky because you don't just take
Iron.
iron and you have to, right, make sure it's with vitamin C and all the things. So I took supplements and I just really changed my way of thinking and way of doing things. And I know that sounds like so weird that that healed me, but taking all these things and then getting out of the slump of being anemic and iron and adding more. I wasn't eating enough for what I was doing. So that's why I'm such a like, I'm always like, eat like it's your job and fuel the body. And it's so, so important because I experienced it and how much it destroyed me. So um, I'd say a combination of all those things, and it didn't happen overnight at all. It was a very slow, I mean, I would say, let's see, 16 and probably, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years. I feel like 2019 was when I had a really great season. So it took a bit. It took a
What was
while.
the biggest fueling change that you made?
More food during my workouts, more food after, right after.
Yeah.
So I was eating, I would eat big breakfast. I wasn't like denying myself of food, but I would also go out on a 3 hour ride and be like, oh yeah, a bar is enough or 2 bars is good. And maybe I would bump that up in racing, but I just didn't train like that. I didn't eat enough. So I would say during training for sure. And then being really open to adding new foods to my diet, not being so strict and being okay with the variety. And it's okay to, um, have different foods that might have been, I don't set, no, there's nothing off list now. It's just all foods are a go. So, and then as the protein buzz started, it was like, oh wow, I wasn't having enough of that either. It was kind of because I was vegetarian for a bit, vegan for a bit, like just kind of all the things. So now it did take a while to build back up for sure.
And did you get your panels done and see like change in your blood work as far as the iron and all those things are concerned?
Yeah, she was great. She
Yeah.
did, I want to say like at that point, I probably did it every 2 to 3 months until we got back where it's like, okay, we're good. Wow, okay. This is working. This is working. So, um, yeah, it took a while and it did take a lot of those. And then this was all virtual, the virtual calls, and still amazing, right? That we were able to do that.
And I assume like the fatigue went away and the bloating and all those things resolved. Did you at any point then hit other perimenopause symptoms that were actually related to perimenopause?
I did, yes. So I am postmenopausal now. I'm
Okay.
almost
How?
52,
Okay.
and um, I I think somewhere around I had the IUD, right? So I didn't know exactly what was happening, but for sure the anxiety and um the headaches were really bad. A little bit of the depression, like kind of different symptoms, but they would come and go. It wasn't well, as we talked about, right? There's hundreds. There's a lot. And I don't love to just go, oh, it's because of the, oh, just wait, or you're old, or this is happening, but really diving into, okay, let me journal and actually see what's going on with me. So I just started journaling like my experiences, symptoms of, okay, what am I feeling? What am I going through? Am I fatigued? Because there are those weeks that still happen where it was like, wow, I can feel it now. Like I can almost feel that fatigue coming on. And I just, okay, I need to take days off, or I need to overfuel, or yeah, focus on being healthier than I was.
Did you take those symptoms to a doctor at all? Like, what's your hormone regimen now? Are you on hormone therapy?
I am, yeah. I got off IUD,
Yep.
and another thing I didn't realize. So IUD, have you heard of an IUD crash?
Oh no.
Oh, yes.
No.
So
What happens then?
I didn't either. And I should have asked. I'm like, yeah, this is what happens when you get off. But, I got off it, and then I was doing a race that weekend. But, it takes time to make these appointments. And this was it. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm done. Um, we were pretty sure I was postmenopausal and got off it. And wow. I mean, it's so interesting how much, and I know, and I know we talk about, but the hormones, how much they affect you. And so, that I actually knew it that night. I was like, oh my gosh, why did I do this before? It was like 5 days before a half Ironman. And I got headaches. And so anyway, that it was fine. I raced, and it was fine. But I again went back to my notepad and, okay, how am I feeling? But I pretty much went straight from there. There was like the week lull, but I am now on the patch, a very low dose patch in progesterone at night. And that's
Gotcha.
it. Yeah.
And how are we feeling?
We're great. It's like, wow. It's so weird because I feel like I went through all these things like, I mean, it was 10 years ago. I was 41, right? Like 42, 43. And I look back and I'm so in effect like kind of grateful that it happened, because then I learned so much through it, and who knows, my body would probably still be grinding and, chasing the next thing. Um but now I like I said, if I'm careful, I am definitely, I can feel things, like as I can feel the headaches coming on, or I can feel the fatigue, and you got to adjust a little bit. So I just adjust, and then um, get back. But knock on, I've been feeling really good. I've got some injuries that pop up here and there, and I'm a huge fan of mobility, huge fan of strength and moving the body. And I coach clients to have movement snacks throughout the day. So it's like we all need all that, like the breathing. There's just so much that encompasses what leads to longevity, and it's versus what I used to coin it as just go. Do
Right.
triathlons
Well,
forever and you will live long.
yeah, no, maybe
Nope.
not. No, no, it's not. There's other things that create more balance than triathlon training. Yeah. So a couple of questions there. When you talk about when you feel that kind of stuff coming on, whether it be the headaches or the fatigue, are you attributing that to just being out of balance in your training life, like too much stress or too little of something? Like when you feel something coming on, what is that sensation attributing to?
That's a great question. I think it's added stress. It's if I wake up too early over and over, I wake up really early to swim or work out. And when so I would say stress, lack of sleep, and when that's off, that affects me a lot. And so I back off, I sleep in, um, even if it's like take time off, my husband would laugh at me, but it's easy, right? Easier workouts. It's going out with people and not having a plan and just really going back to the sheer joy of what you're doing. And so I do that very often because I think that's super important.
One of the things that we talked about around Kona was that you were faster at 50 than you were at 40, correct? Was that at Kona itself that you
Yeah,
had
so
that?
Kona 2013. I did it when I was 40, and then I did it the year I turned 50 also.
Yeah. And
And I
50 was
was
faster.
faster at 50. Yeah. Which is crazy because I actually trained. I wasn't, it wasn't like 40. I was like brand new to the sport and barely training. So that was my goal, and I shared that with you. And then yeah, I want to say it was 5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes, but
That's significant. What
it
do you attribute that to?
smarter training, just being like really being okay with missed workouts, being
Mm.
okay with going out and saying no to Saturday morning rides. It's like it's all okay. It's kind of the ebbs and flows of it. And I had a really tough schedule going into Kona, and I had, a kid going into college, and then I had a new puppy, and I had like a lot of travel and all these things, and it was okay. Like I don't think 10 years ago I would have thought it was okay to have all these things happening. It was just I was very, very focus minded. Um, all the things that we always talk about, strength for sure, that was a priority instead of being, I mean, I've lifted all my life, but it's kind of the first to go. We'd all admit 10 years ago, 20 years
Totally.
ago.
100%.
And now it's not like, okay, if I have 2 hours, I'm going to do an hour and a half ride or an hour and a half, whatever that worked out, and then make sure the strength gets in. So that was a big piece of it. Like I talked earlier, nutrition and having enough fuel for my rides was massive. Um, being strong, not skinny, not working out to look a certain way. Just all these, there's so many factors that came into it. And I feel like I can't contribute it really to just one thing, but
Yeah.
just a ton of really just smart training, I'd say. And just
Yeah.
being, like I said, like supported and connected and being around really great people that helped me as well.
Yeah. And I think just that when you were talking about just being look that letting go, right? Oh my God, I can't miss a single second of a single workout. I think that isn't always the most productive way to go about it, but many of us go through those times when we're just like every box must be checked green. Like
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I have clients, and I often will say, okay, I like the sheets. I like the training peaks that's got some yellow. Like give us some color. It's okay. Because you don't want to be like all green and then 2 weeks of red, right? Or a week, like drive yourself into the ground. And we're not algorithms. We're not robots. Like our body, I coach in a very like individualized way because we are individuals. If you take 10 people and train them for the same race, it's their workouts aren't going to look the same. So I think that's super important. And I only learned that through myself. that's something you got to kind of experience yourself and try to like a lot of what I do is reining people in. Pull back a little bit and eat more. Eating's your
Yeah.
job. So that makes it fun.
Before we hit record, we were talking a bit, and you alluded to it earlier in the conversation that you're having a couple niggles or injuries that are popping up here and there that you are addressing. And I thought it would be interesting just to share some of that because I think that there has to be other people in this audience who are going to relate to that, especially when you were talking about your shoulder and some swimming and how maybe some of us have learned one technique back in the day that now they have refined, but our muscle memory is still as such, and that technique perhaps isn't serving us. So, can you talk a bit about your journey through some of that?
Yeah, yeah, you nailed it. I am currently unlearning 40 something years of swimming in the what was it, the hourglass. Yeah, you put your arm in and then you move it around. And I'm sure I have little tears in my shoulders. I think, I do the accessory work and the strength work, and that is obviously so helpful in all of this. And I like to think I'm not often injured, but yeah, it, I swam this morning and 10 strokes felt great. And then if I went back to that old way, I could feel it just pulling again. So it is really, really hard to retrain your body into something that you have learned over and over. And swimming is a lot of reps. Well, anything's a lot of reps.
Yeah, but
Running, but
swimming
whatever your
is
sport is,
so technique driven and a lot of reps. That would be like trying to learn a new golf swing, right? If you've been golfing for
yeah,
your whole
totally.
life. Yeah.
Right, right. So I am currently, I feel like it's fun because it's now it's like I'm trying new things and I feel like a new swimmer, and it's a lot of drills and a lot of, but like my elbow drops and it's frustrating because it's been a good 4 months of not feeling great. And so I'm like, okay, but I try to switch it. And yes, I'm sad and it's not great because obviously we want to wake up and feel like, awesome every day. But it's also okay, I have biking, I have swimming, I have running, not swimming, I have, these other ways of moving that make me feel really good. And I'm a big proponent of physical therapy. So I go do that and I try to do my boring, unsexy exercises every day because they're going to work and they're going to make me better. And I just have to, go back to the fundamentals and the small steps, right? We say like the small steps are simple, but they're not easy always.
Yeah. What do you have coming up?
This is probably the first year where I actually have like a full plan. I usually start with Oceanside. It's just in my backyard. So I'm doing Oceanside shortly.
What's the distance on
Uh,
Oceanside for those who don't know?
Oceanside's a half Ironman. So that's kind of my sweet spot. I don't know. I don't know, never say done, but Ironman is a lot. So I love the half Ironman. I'm still trying to get better in it and continues to improve. So I've got Oceanside, and then I'm doing Wildflower is having a comeback, so that's going to be really fun. So I'm going to do that's in a I'm doing actually the half and the Olympic that weekend, big camping weekend, and I qualified for Marbella Worlds, which is in November in Spain.
Oh,
So that's fun
nice.
too. So yeah, so I gotta stay healthy. So every year I'm like, oh, maybe I'm gonna retire. Like maybe I'm gonna do something else, and then I qualify, and then I get excited, and I go to these races, and I'm back in.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to back off and then get back in. I mean, 12 months, I would never, I can't train 12 months a year.
Well, when I hear somebody who is clearly excited and enthusiastic, I think, why would you stop? Right? I mean, I think it's when you start having those, I call my moods about that canaries in the coal mine. If I'm not excited, if I'm kind of just going through motions, then I have to assess, why am I doing this? Do I want to do this? But you're glittering, like shimmering with excitement. So,
It's fun.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think as triathletes, and you've been doing this a long time too, right? So I think as we just think there's one way to do things, and you're like labeled a triathlete, so that's what you got to do. And I've seen clients like hate swimming And I'm like, why are you doing it? Like, this is not fun for you. And then now there's so many great opportunities, right? You can do duathlon, you can do the swim run, you can do aqua bike. So if there's something that is just, if you are going to the pool every day and you absolutely are miserable, like, no, life is too short. There's so
Totally.
many fun things that you can get out there and do. And if running hurts you, if every step is painful, maybe that's, not the right choice to move forward with. Maybe it's hiking. I've seen some athletes just stop running and then they go and they do these amazing hiking adventures
Yep.
and do more aqua bike. So yeah, I think it's really important to love what you do, and when that is lost, then find something else that you love to
I
do.
I
There's a
preach that all
lot
the
out there.
time. As you know, there's
Yeah.
so many ways to explore your athletic self and enjoy your athletic self that you don't need to put yourself in one box forever and ever in any way, shape, or form.
Right, right. Yeah. Get out. Step out of the box.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to leave people with, or anything that we haven't talked about that you wanted to make sure that you expressed about your whole journey, or what you think people should take from it?
Oh goodness. I think the biggest thing and what I've learned through all this process, it's like there's so much noise out there. And especially lately, there's so much noise.
More
There's
than
so
ever. It's only
much
going to get noisier,
boom,
folks.
boom, boom. Right. And it's so easy to just listen to one person and think that's the truth. And it's so, so important to advocate for yourself. And no one cares more about your health than you. So ask the hard questions. Don't be embarrassed. Don't succumb to the limitations imposed by society, because there's that noise. There's a lot of them out there. Um, Rest, recover. But we also glorify grinding, and just if it's not hard, it doesn't matter. And I think that's so off. So I'm such a big fan of rest and recovery and pulling back when you need to. Um, and I just think it's a great time to be 50. It's like, let's
That is
do it.
true.
Like, people should be happy and keep showing up and smile and have fun and do what you love, and it's all good.
Yeah, and I also want to double underscore and put a circle and a highlight through the earlier part of our conversation, especially in lieu of what you're saying about so much information out there now. Hormones are a tool in the toolbox. They're a very important one. Often they are not everything, and sometimes they're not actually what you need, which is part of what
Mm.
you were learning back then. Uh, there's a lot of very blunt instrument messaging out there right now that whatever it is, hormone therapy is the answer. And that overlooks a lot of stuff, whether it be not eating enough, the iron, all the other things. You need to address all those underlying things.
Yeah, for sure. It's so true. And you have to, what works for somebody doesn't work for everyone. There's not, I wish it was one answer would would
Yeah,
be
don't we
the
all?
right way. I wish you could just put that patch on and you'd have all your nutrients and you'd have all your hormone and
It
everything
would
would
just
be
sense what
make
you
you
needed and just give you,
right.
that's the future, right? The patch has
The
everything,
perfect
senses what you
panel.
need, and then just gives you what you need. Why doesn't somebody do that? Yeah,
Yeah, something like just having the perfect panel. But yeah, it's like I don't think you have to be like anti anything or for anything. Like, it's
totally.
just figuring out the research and what is right for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jen, for sharing your story,
You're
and
so welcome.
good luck in your adventures. We'll be following you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was great.
Well, that's our show. We are going to take a brief summer break, so you will be treated to a couple of our greatest hits in the next 2 weeks. And then we'll be back with a banger of a show with Dr. Jody Duche explaining why calories in, calories out is really kind of bullshit. So until then, as always, see you in a couple. Stay feisty. You've been listening to Hit Play, Not Pause, a feisty menopause podcast for active, performance-minded women. I'm your host, Celine Yeager, The show is edited and produced by the strong, talented, and amazing women at Live Feisty Media. Follow us on social media at Feisty Menopause, and please help us spread the word. Screenshot and share this episode on your social media channels with the tag @FeistyMenopause. Share the show with your friends, and please subscribe, like, review, and rate this show wherever you get your podcasts. Word of mouth and good reviews make it easier for other listeners to find. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay feisty.